Our adventures on Route 66 continue. Today we're exploring Springfield, the capital of Illinois. And yes, it is going to be, for the most part, Lincoln overload. In a good way. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be. 'Cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah. The first thing we encounter as we arrive in Springfield, what a surprise! It's a vintage gas station. Nowadays a museum created by Bill Shea after his gas station closed in 1982. Well, here we are. Let's pretend we're gonna refuel here at this old gas station, right? Well, unfortunately, it is closed, so all we can do is take a peek inside and continue on the route. Look at the water hose there, and I guess this was for oil. All kinds of memorabilia collected by Shea, who ran the museum until 2013 when he passed at the age of 91. His original gas station has been moved nearby, and maybe we can see it later. Let's check out the interpretive sign. You may pause for more info. Here's an old 1960s Impala. And here we are parked. We're just gonna pretend we're gonna put gas and and keep on going on the mother road. Now let's go to our harvest host. This is it, right here on the left, Main Gate Bar and Grill. And I imagine it is called Main Gate because we are in front of the fairgrounds main gate. Makes sense. Spoke to the owner, and he instructed us to park across the street at the Kentucky Burn Bourbon Bar. Alright, this is where we parked. We called an Uber and we're going downtown. Here we are by the old Capitol building in downtown Springfield. Let's walk around a little bit. Well, someone recommended this place. Let's see if it is open. Yeah, come in, we're open. Terra Ferment. Unfortunately, Terra Fermenta seems to have closed since our visit here, but they had great selection of beer. Well, this place was really cool. That beer, that was special. Anyway, we came today because they close Monday and Tuesday, so we're not going to be able to come back. But he has some rare beers in there. Now we're going to go get something to eat. And today we're probably going to see everything from the outside, and then tomorrow we'll go into places. Well, here's the old Capitol. And everything is about Lincoln here in Springfield, right? For example, here we have Abraham Lincoln. As a young lad. This is the old Capitol building, and it was here where Obama launched his presidential campaign back in 2007. We will come back tomorrow and go inside. Yeah, downtown Springfield, not very lively on a Sunday, but I mean, it feels safe. And we're gonna go to it's a microbrewery. We've been told not to miss a local delicacy called the horseshoe sandwich, but I don't know, maybe not today. There it is, the Capitol building. Yes, that is the current Capitol building. Here we go. It's called Obed and Isaac's Microbrewery and Eatery. Well, there's no one out here, but it's kind of chilly today, so let's go inside. Eat well and drink better beer.
The same guy that delivers to the horseshoe, you talk to him to dry out the...
Illy is having the Jaeger Schnitzel, and I'm just gonna have a burger.
Oh, that was really good.
Now let's go check out Lincoln's house. It's like right here.
Yeah, no, that's not it. The visitor center is already closed, so let's just see the house from the outside, and tomorrow we'll do a guided tour.
From 1844 to 1861, before he went to the White House. This would have been the only home Lincoln ever owned.
The rest of the neighborhood, like the home, has been preserved like a time capsule, as it would have looked in 1860. As I said, we'll see more of this tomorrow.
Check it out. Route 66.
The original alignment. And we're back by the fairgrounds.
This is where we're staying, main gate.
Here's the 1920s era Mahan's filling station, purchased by Bill Shea, and at some point they moved it here, right next to Fulgenzi's Pizza. We're going to walk across the street because there's a Route 66 display at the fairgrounds.
It's the Route 66 experience. It does not seem to be open. No. Well, there it is. Illinois State Fairgrounds.
Maybe this gate is open, it being the main gate. But no such luck.
Well, we were able to sneak in.
Yeah, gate 11 was open. There was even a sign. And could that be a Lincoln muffler man? I can kind of see the resemblance. Let's go look for that Route 66 experience.
Oh, yeah. The giant Route 66 slide.
A state fair tradition since 1968. Cool.
Well, here we go. If it wasn't for the owner of the Harvest Host, we would have never known about this place. This is called the Illinois State Fairgrounds, Route 66 experience, and they have all these neon signs here. All right, we were there.
And here they have a replica of the brown historic Route 66 sign.
This is the beginning. It looks really cool. All right, let's do it. Let's begin on the Route 66 in Illinois.
The experience highlights the 952 communities in Illinois. I believe we've been to most of those by now. The neon signs and billboards are reproductions of actual signs that once illuminated the Mother Road. I guess each one of these represents a segment of the road. I see some familiar faces. We keep going, and I see another familiar face coming up. Very cool the way they have recreated the experience with neon signs and the Burma Shave advertising. Here we have what they call a photo spot. Let's see. Yeah, very cool. The neon signs definitely added that special touch. Here's a dedication to all the giants, muffler men, and uniroyal gals. I have a feeling we may have missed some of those. Maybe we can do a road trip with that purpose in mind, in order to see all of them that are scattered around the country. I think we've made it to our present location, Springfield. Here we have a map with all the different alignments through town. A part of me wants to believe these are all originals, but probably not. This represents the Chain of Rocks Bridge, which spans the Mississippi, and in a couple of days it is going to take us into Missouri. Actually, I really enjoyed this. It is very well made. I want to take a minute to tell you about our longtime sponsor, Surfshark VPN. VPN, Virtual Private Network, and that's what it does. It creates a private, secure connection between your devices and the internet. By the way, on limited devices, it works on Mac and PC, on your Android or Apple mobile device, on a streaming console, gaming console, and by the way, unlimited devices. You can install it in as many devices as you want, and it's very simple. It's just an app on your phone. You just open it up and let's go fastest connection, quick connect, and within seconds, now that connection is for your eyes only. And because someone could be, especially it happened to us in Spain, someone could be eavesdropping on that connection and potentially stealing your password, access to your email, and before you know it, all your information is gone or in someone else's hand. It has an alternative ID, so there's no chance that someone could steal your real identity. VPN, of course, that's its main function. Alternative ID, antivirus. It has an alert if something happens. If your password is out there on the open web for some reason, it'll alert you. And finally, there's a search for your eyes only, because when you search on one of the major search engines, it's not private. Your ISP knows where you've been, and the search engine knows where you've been. This is a real incognito mode for searches you don't want anyone to see. Not that we would ever want to hide anything. Finally, my favorite function here is the fact that you can teleport yourself to a different place. Like, for example, maybe there's some content that is only available in the United Kingdom, and here I have one of my recents. Let's just, within seconds, we're in Glasgow. Anyway, I have a very special deal for you guys. Just go to surfshark.com/myrv and you enter promo code MyRV and you'll get up to 4 months for free. Well, good morning from Springfield, Illinois. Our first stop today, Lincoln's final resting place. Well, good morning. We've been on our day here.
Traveling Robert.
Yes, sir. I just met with some viewers here first thing in the morning. Anyway, we begin our tour of Springfield here at Lincoln's final resting place at the Oak Ridge Cemetery. There it is. Well, it seems to be good luck to rubs Lincoln's nose, so we're gonna do that. And we have 2 tour buses coming, so let's see if we can beat them to the punch. They are actually 2 high school field trips. We really must hurry. Here we have a bronze prototype of the Lincoln Memorial in DC. And it is only one way counterclockwise. Lincoln the Ranger, Lincoln the Soldier, Lincoln the Man, Lincoln the Circuit Rider. And here it is, our 16th president's final resting place. He is actually 10 feet below. To the left, the flags of his ancestors' states. To the right, the ones where he lived. Here's the text of his farewell address when he left Springfield for Washington. On the other side, the Gettysburg Address. Here's Seated Lincoln. The original is in Hodgenville, Kentucky, Lincoln's birthplace, and we kind of saw it from afar when we were there earlier on this trip. Here's Lincoln the Debater. Standing Lincoln. The original is in Lincoln, Nebraska. And here we have Lincoln the Lawyer. The original in Urbana, Illinois. And here, once again, perhaps the most famous one. The one most instantly recognizable. The one at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Oh yeah, I was here before, back in 2020, but I mean, it's something you have to do if you come to Springfield and, learn a little about the history and the man himself and where he is, laid to rest. But the wait time is everything. Now we got a huge tour bus from a high school field trip or something. So let's see if we can. No, we're not allowed to go up there. That kind of sucks. Let's just go all the way around. Down here, of course, is the original first resting place for Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, this was like a temporary vault down here before they built the monument. I'm assuming this is behind the actual tomb. Right behind this stained glass. There's a light mist coming down that it really makes it feel a lot colder than it is. It's probably 50 degrees, but it feels a lot colder. It's a very pretty cemetery. I wish I had made the time to explore a little more, but we want to do pretty much all the points of interest in town, or most of them, all the historic sites. The old Capitol building, the new Capitol building, the Lincoln Library, the Lincoln's house. I'll maybe get something to eat at some point. Here I am debating whether to walk or take an Uber to Lincoln's house. Under better weather, I might consider walking, but I think I'm gonna take an Uber or Lyft or ride sharing. You know what I mean. Custodian residence. Actually, sometimes the better view of these monuments is from far away, like here.
I'm gonna walk to the entrance and request my ride.
Well, yeah, I called an Uber. I mean, there's no reason to walk an hour, into downtown under this mist. I mean, it's a little uncomfortably cold. Florida man talking about cold. What can you do?
I came downtown and got tickets for 3 p.m. for Lincoln's house. By the way, I'm solo right now. Eli is in the RV. I'm gonna do a couple of things here by myself, and then I'm gonna go get her, and we're gonna do the rest.
We're going to do the Lincoln Museum first, the Presidential Library, and then, which is the farthest north place, and then we're going to work our way south to the old Capitol, the new Capitol. There's a lot to see in this town.
I promise you, by the time we're done, it is going to be Lincoln overload.
And as you may have noticed, it is not a lively downtown. In fact, it is eerily deserted. No, this is supposed to be a really good restaurant. I have it on my list of places. It's supposed to be fancy though. So we'll see, we may or may not coming here. Yeah, it's only dinner.
There's once again the old Capitol building. We're probably going to visit later this afternoon. Here it is, the Lincoln Presidential Library.
And across the street, the museum. I've heard this is a really good museum, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Expectations are high. Here's the floor plan and the Lincoln family in front of the White House, but yeah, we're going to start at the beginning.
What do you know? This looks just like the cabin we saw in Kentucky. Here's the map of all the places he visited.
Actually, all the places they lived. They did move a lot. I was mistaken. Although similar in design, this is not the birthplace but a recreation of his cabin in Little Pigeon Creek, Indiana. It is all so well made. With the sound effects and the subtle music, it does transport you to Lincoln's home as a teenager. It does feel larger than the cabins we saw in Hudgenville and Nub Creek on our way to Chicago earlier on this trip. Here's young Lincoln reading by the fireplace. Early in life, entrepreneurial Lincoln built a flatboat and ferried some passengers to a steamboat and earned his first dollar. Eventually, he would travel all the way down to New Orleans, where he came face to face with slavery, an experience that left an indelible impression in the young man. There are several exhibits about slavery in this section of the museum. Here's a recreation of the Lincoln store in New Salem, Illinois. His first real business besides those boat rides on the Mississippi. This would have been in the very early 1830s as he arrived in New Salem in 1831. And allegedly, he had a crush on Anne Rutledge, a young woman also from Kentucky and the town's founder's daughter. Now in Springfield, here we see him with Mary Ann Todd, the woman who would become his wife, circa 1940, 3 years after he moved to the city. This exhibit depicts the senatorial debates of October 7, 1858, between Lincoln and Stephen Douglas, in which Lincoln argued eloquently against slavery. While Douglas won that particular election, Lincoln gained reputation nationwide, and that eventually helped him win the presidential election 2 years later. Apparently, Lincoln was a very permissive parent, allowing his children to go wild, as illustrated in this exhibit, depicting Lincoln's office. Here we can see him reading the newspaper, oblivious to his children basically trashing the place. All these exhibits are so well made, even having sound effects effectively, capturing a moment in time. This is very creative. Here we have an exhibit depicting what would be a TV control room circa the year 2000, displaying what would be a Tim Russett news program covering the 1860 election.
As the campaign of 1860 stumbles toward Election Day.
Lincoln gets elected, and here we have him on a rainy evening, traveling to the White House. Now onto the next area of the museum, portraying his life in the White House. Here we have a life-size representation of the Lincoln family as they arrive at the White House, and a great photo opportunity as well.
It's life-size for sure. The Lincoln family.
They look so realistic. Let's step into the people's house. Here we have Generals McClellan and Grant, with a worried look on their face. On the other side, Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass, determined to talk to the president. Here we have Mary Lincoln getting fitted for a gown in the blue room of a newly renovated White House. This would have been the White House kitchen. This display is so well made that there's even heat emanating from the stove. By the way, I have skipped a couple of exhibits here. I mean, this museum is so vast I could make a video just about it alone. We are now in Lincoln's War Office. Here's a moment frozen in time. The president reading the Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet. And you can see the reactions of the various members. This is very well executed. Here we have more reactions to the Emancipation Proclamation. Some said it went too far, some said it didn't go far enough, which goes to show, no matter what you do, you can never please everybody. Here we have a pensive Lincoln, deciding what he would ultimately do. Meanwhile, the bloodiest war raged on. Here we have a map illustrating the progress of the Civil War. I find these kinds of chronological displays very informative. It gives you a great overview of what happened and when it happened. Here we can see how he aged, rather dramatically, from 1860 to 1865. The Gettysburg Address after the bloody battle. The Union victory. But Lincoln never lived to see the end of the war. On April 14, 1865, he was shot by Confederate sympathizer John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Booth crept up from behind and fired at the back of Lincoln's head. Here we have our final display of Lincoln laying in state. This museum is totally worth visiting if you're interested in the life of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh yeah, that was a great museum, and my favorite part I couldn't show you. There's like a 3D holographic movie at the end that yeah, you're gonna have to come and see it.
And we're back.
It's a green elephant. Well, it is Cinco de Mayo, so might as well. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
We got our chips and salsa, and this place was actually recommended by the folks at Terra Ferment.
Alright, it is a burrito loco. Oh, that looks good.
It looks very festive in here. And they have a rooster.
Hello. Mexican gallo. Well, what can I say? It was Cinco de Mayo, so we had to do it. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but the inside, the ambience was good and the food was good. And that's all that matters. The capital, the old capital doesn't look open, but we're gonna check it out anyway.
Here we're back at the old state capital.
We have to go to the other side.
It would seem there's always construction going on. It was built in the Greek Revival style from 1837 to 1840.
Look at these old, worn-out columns here.
This was the State House from 1840 to 1876.
Look at that old flag.
This is Representatives Hall. When Lincoln was laying in state in the last scene we saw at the museum earlier, well, it was here. It looks so different in the daylight. Here's also where Lincoln gave his famous House Divided speech on June 16, 1858. Cool, an organ.
Look, we just ate right there.
Now entering the Senate chamber. President Lincoln didn't really spend all that much time here. Here's the adjutant's office. We are now in the Supreme Court, where Lincoln argued many cases during his tenure here. Here's the State Library. Lincoln used to hang out here a lot too.
Oh, that was cool and it was quiet. It was great to see. Now, from the old Capitol building, we're going to the new Capitol building, if we have time. An artifact.
The ghost of Lincoln is omnipresent here.
Well, here we've got the original alignment of Route 66. And there it is, the state capitol. Would that be for water or snow? Someone let me know.
It is one of the more attractive Capitol buildings with its svelte dome. This is one of 3 Capitol buildings that Route 66 goes by. Can you guess which other 2 you can see from an alignment of the Mother Road? There's a statue of Lincoln, of course, and one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is a majestic building, both outside and inside. Illinois welcomes the world. Let's see room 212 here, formerly the Illinois Supreme Court. Nowadays, the Supreme Court is in a separate building. Take a look at this ornate ceiling. This is definitely one of the most opulent Capitol buildings we've seen. It rivals other palatial ones like Iowa, Minnesota, out of the ones we've seen anyway. This is the Illinois House of Representatives Gallery, with desks for its 118 members. The stained glass used to be a skylight, but nowadays it uses dimmable electric lighting. Pego lamps, baby. Very elegant. Very beautiful. I was gonna check out the Senate, but we are out of time, believe it or not.
Well, if it looks like we're rushing, that's because we are. We have to be at Lincoln's house in 10 minutes. Which, by the way, the Illinois Capitol, very impressive. I wish we had a little more time, but you know, the Lincoln's house, you have to make reservations, and that's what happens.
And here we are.
A drayman, meaning he took care of horses, and part of being a Southern Belle was entertaining. And she came up here from Springfield to visit her sister, who already lived here, and they took her to party.
If there is one complaint about the tour, is that it feels very crowded, almost claustrophobic.
Come on in. There's room for everybody. This was the master bedroom. It was in this room that Eddie, Willie, and Tad were born.
This whole room, by the way, the front parlor. And this is the sitting room. I think this would work so much better as a self-guided tour with a continuous flow of people instead of our large group cramped into such small spaces. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guide is great, full of information and anecdotes, but the execution could be better. This was Mr. Lincoln's bedroom. Eventually, we'll be able to make it into Mrs. Lincoln's bedroom.
So let's go check that out. I want to see if any of you kids can tell me why they like that room so much.
As we start moving on to the next room, we can finally see some details here.
Great. I've never heard of anybody doing that, but it makes so much sense.
Which were originals? The dresser and the chair?
The dresser and the chair, these little tables here, and the toilet. Toilet.
The porta potty.
What would you do?
Play
Where?
on the bed.
It's not going.
What was it?
They go out the window.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't know.
This was the boys' room.
For $1.50 a week. And a room, nice room. But I mean, you know, if you want to eat all year, you have garden, you have to do all the garden stuff and put up things, you can wash and mend and
This was the hired girls' room, who would clean the house and help with other chores.
Biscuits. There you go.
And finally, this is the kitchen. And this concludes our tour of Lincoln's house.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. That was Lincoln's house.
As I mentioned yesterday, the whole neighborhood has been preserved as it would have looked in 1960. And a very nice house the Lincolns had.
And that's pretty much all we're gonna do here in Springfield, Illinois. We're going to another Springfield soon too. Anyway, looking for an Uber. We're gonna go back to the RV and tomorrow we have one more thing actually. We might go to the place where allegedly they invented the corn dog. I'm not really into corn dogs, but it's a thing.
That and more will be on the next video, where we finally make our way to St. Louis, Missouri. I want to take a moment to thank all the executive producers of the channel and all of you who show your support either via Patreon, memberships, super chats, or just by watching and liking my videos. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.